Hey,
Ayo, welcome to Benchwarmers, a WOSO podcast, episode 23,
three.
23,
26.
26, Jesus, I can't even get the year
Jesus,
right,
Ben.
but 23, any famous 23s other than
Of course.
LeBron James and Michael Jordan and Alessia Russo?
Alessia
Yeah,
Russo.
I said Alessia
Um,
Russo. You lost. You just said the same name that I did. The big three.
who,
The big three of sport is LeBron James, Michael Jordan, and Alessia Russo. That's it.
and then like David Beckham is just kind of there. He's
Oh,
just kind of watching
CP,
on from the
CP,
side.
Christian Press.
Christian
Yeah,
Press, yes, of course.
CP 23.
Mm,
We'll take those four. That's
easy.
the Mount Rushmore of 23 right now. But we will get into football because there is a lot to talk about. We're going to start with the premier competition, the UWCL. Sadly, none of the premier teams. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Whoa!
But no. I can't talk. My team's not there yet.
No.
But we are in the first leg of the playoffs. I love that all the websites call it the round of 16. There aren't 16 teams left. It's not the round of 16. It's literally not. It's the playoffs. We had Leuven v Arsenal, a game that pretty much went exactly how I thought it would go. I didn't expect the clientele that did well in that game, which was quite impressive and very crucial to what I believe will be the turning point for Arsenal. As we'll go back in time, but we're going to start with the games that are fresh in our mind. But 4-0 away from home, Leggy. Happy, sad, disappointed? Nah, can't
Can't be
be.
sad about this.
Yeah.
No, ecstatic. I think I might have said in our preview to this game that I was expecting a big shift in terms of how we approach games that we're expected to win. And I think that this proved that when we can click on all cylinders, when we can create so much of a high line that we're the most dominant attacking team in the 90 minutes, we should be scoring. And we did score. We scored 4 goals, and they all came from very similar movements, coming from the flank, cutting in. I was really happy with with the game. I think it was just another step in a direction that we know very well from last year, which is momentum building, which is bringing down teams and then going on to our next assignment, basically, which I think after this game, I don't think Leuven is coming back. But I think we'll beat Chelsea, and I think that
Just
that is a
wait,
much
just
easier.
wait. They're so excited to be at. It won't be at the Emirates. It'll be at
No, it'll be at what's it called?
the park.
At
The
yes,
park. What do you don't even call it? It's Meadow Park, isn't it?
Meadow Park.
Yeah, home. Actually, Leon owns that ground. To be honest.
Whoa, okay,
Um,
sure.
but what I will say is that if I'm going to be selfish for a moment, I will say that I'm very happy to see the return of form to the Matildas of Arsenal. I will say Caitlin Ford, 2 assists to Frida Maanum, my favourite player for Arsenal as well, doing the business in the pseudo 9 role. I feel like she was behind the striker at points. She pressed. They did that reversing role, but a different look Arsenal with this Liv Smith striker option. I like inverting, channeling the left side, channeling the right side. Is there anything this girl cannot do in the front three? I don't think so.
No, and I agree. And I think we'll talk about it more in the City game because I think it was more evident in that game, even though I thought she had a fantastic game in the nine again today or yesterday.
Yeah.
But I was not necessarily surprised at how Freda Martin was playing. I said this when we started talking about Martin's dip in form, that I think it's just a purple patch of low form because I don't necessarily see a difference in position or how we're playing. It just happens to be that she's just in the right places at the right times and she's scoring the goals that she was missing not only like a month ago but for the 3 month patch that she didn't get any goals. And I think that Frida Martin's on a good patch of form when she's scoring headers. Like that's pretty much the barometer for me. Like when she's scoring headers I know that she's on a good patch of form, and I was happy that she's taking the opportunity against teams that we know that we can score against to build the confidence, kind of like Caitlin Ford as well. And I think it's all a credit to the Champions Cup and how that little run that we had, helped us in the season.
100%. And I think the midfield mix just looks better when Maanum is fully fit, because it gives the freedom for Mariona to do the business she wants. It gives the freedom for Williamson to invert further forward, because then you can overload from the top of the park. And Renee's been so aggressive in her forward half press, especially with the front four, whatever way you work it, whether it's Pelova switching and Maanum going in the 10, whether it's Mariona pushing forward and then Maanum and Pelova holding, or Kim holding, having different mixes, different ideas all over the park, different accents of players. Miller getting brought in for Foxy at half-time, giving Foxy the rest she deserves. Catley fully rested, which is a character moment in itself, because I mean the amount of games she's played in the last 18-month stretch is just absurd, and what she's had to do. But I mean, having Cody and Williamson out there, geez, it feels like it's a blast from the past, to be honest. And it's a comfortable performance. We don't really have to go into it that much, because I think it was just such a standard Arsenal European no game management performance, because that's what I expect from Arsenal, to batter teams and actually give them no mercy. In comparison to the rest of the UWCL performances, I mean, we'll talk about United eventually, but that's not really a battering. That's just more the destruction of an institution on one side of the pitch. Paris FC versus Real Madrid, a very impressive performance, a very impressive game from two teams with quality nearly all over the park, to be honest. Two underrated teams. I mean, it's sad, because Real Madrid are just one of those sides that can deliver when the competition isn't just so starkly above them. But it did start poorly. I did think it was going to be a 1-0 hold and grab from Paris FC, which they've done before against different sides in the Arkema. But Koroshek's volley from the corner is magnificent. I've been harping on about Koroshek. I mean, Bayern fans, Arsenal fans, I mean, if you don't want to break the bank to keep Stanway or get Stanway, I mean, you've got a Slavic 6'8" who can do all the things that Stanway can do for a third of the price, to be honest. And I think there is a lot of English tax, and not to say that Stanway isn't fantastic. I'm just saying there are options in other leagues that can do the business, and I think Koroshek will be the next one that's picked up. And honestly, I feel like Real Madrid could use a player like Koroshek, because relying on Sarah de Brits to play all your games, and Angadal, who's a bit older as well. Koroshek is a lot younger, a lot hungrier. I think she wants to win things, and I think she's going to go somewhere soon. But I mean, it was Koroshek versus De Brits in that midfield battle, and it was won by both. They both had amazing moments in this game.
I was going to say, I think that it's not paying the dues of what De Brits did in this game, which I thought was actually on par with Koroshek. It's just Koroshek got that fantastic goal. I think De Brits was able to hold what was a very attacking midfield trio, if we're thinking about Angeldal playing a bit higher up, and then obviously we are in everywhere on the park, really. But I thought De Brits had a great game, and I think even the way that she was able to stabilize when Paris FC tried to attack, especially when they were trying to get that second goal. I thought they eventually got it, but it was very late on in the game, and that was mostly because Real Madrid was able to attack with efficiency, but also De Brits and that defense was able to stabilize the ship.
100%. And you have like Lamogadek, who we've also talked about before, absolutely running the show, winning 16 duels out of about 20 in the game in that midfield mix. So De Brits forced to have 10 defensive contributions in this game. So she was holding the line for Angadal to push forward, for Weir to push forward. And then eventually Weir did get that goal when De Brits had that long shot, that P roller of the century that Weir taps in for the equaliser. And then it wasn't much long after, about 5 minutes, when Caicedo does her thing that flips the switch, and she runs through the centre of the park, takes it through, plays it to Athenea, I believe, and Athenea sticks it into the side netting to score the goal. Perfect time to score a goal in the 46th minute. The whistle blows, and then you go into the second half with this shattered confidence if you're Paris FC. I feel like Matteo was good. I just don't think she was good enough. I don't think she created enough chances, and let alone took on enough chances. She didn't shoot the ball once in this game, which is very uncharacteristic, in my opinion, for her.
Well,
but
she was completely she was completely manned on. I think they were taking her out every time that she was on the
they,
ball. I mean,
yeah, I mean Navarro and Ribeiro were doubling up on her when she was switching sides, because Garbino was switching sides with Mateo as they were trying to get her open, and then I mean the ping passed over the top kind of delivers the final blow as Caicedo scores. Casada gassed. I've never seen him that happy in a game, to be honest. But they were 3-1 up away from home, so they definitely deserved that happiness and that elation, but not without a trace, as Mateo finally had her moment to lay it off to Mendy. Lacroix not good enough to block the ball, and just makes the second leg a little bit more interesting. If Paris FC can get an early goal in the second leg in the Stadio di Stefano, that would be pretty interesting. I don't know if it will happen. I feel like a prime Mateo could do it, but who knows? I feel like these two teams have already played twice this year, and Real Madrid have scored 8 goals against them. So I'm not sure what the plan is for Madrid in terms of, do they want to lock out this game? Do they want to slow things down, or do they just want to hammer them like they have before?
I think that Real Madrid have to learn from the failures of their previous second legs in Champions League football. I think they have to remember that teams on down from the first leg will actively be searching for goals, and that might mean that their defense is not as stable as it was in the first leg. So Real Madrid need to capitalize on that. I expect that Real Madrid will go out to score a couple more goals just to allow for the buffer to be a bit bigger than just the one goal. I was a bit surprised that Casado only used one sub. I thought that he had 5 defenders on the bench, and I thought kind of around the 70th minute that he put Leggy on, I kind of expected him to make some sort of triple substitution, not only to get, his bigger players off, like, say, a Nathaniel or a Caicedo or a Weir, but also just to stabilize that back line, because I thought that back line in general is a very offensive back line, especially the fullbacks. So I was surprised that, and I think that it kind of proves that you need to kind of learn how to game manage in the Champions League. And I think he did something very similar against us, and we know how that turned out.
Yes, I do know how that turned out. And I mean, it's not like there weren't players to bring on, like Bella Anderson, Sarah Holmgard, Sheila Garcia. I mean, a duo of Swedes who would definitely try and lock out that game for you. I mean, this is Real Madrid's first away Champions League win this season, because they drew at Twente and they lost against your lot. I mean, this is the thing, right? They have broken their cycle, but it just felt like there was this hesitancy from Quesada. I mean, there's players on the bench. I'm looking at Redondo. I'm looking at my goat, Comendador. I mean, Redondo's not needed. And I mean, Signa Brun did have a 90 midweek. So maybe they were just resting a few players. But I think you're 100% right in looking at Lacroix probably should have come off for Bella Anderson, I'd say. Maybe Navarro coming off for Holmgard. That probably would be the play. But shout out to Misa Rodriguez, just having a great month, to be honest. I know the 4-0, we'll get to that game, but like the assist for Caicedo's third goal is just hilarious. What a ping over the top to win it. VFL versus Juventus. Juve having a pretty spectacular performance away from home, only for VFL to bail them out in the last 10 minutes, save their performance. I mean, Stefan Lerch, look, I'm going to give him a little bit of slack. It was not a great performance, but there is a lot of scheduling issues and changes that we will get into later on in the Bundes that definitely disrupts the rhythm of how their season is going at the moment. And I'm so unsure. If they actually manage to get through these legs, I don't know how they're going to manage the season. Like, just from an event management perspective, I'm not even talking from a fatigue player's perspective, but I mean, it didn't take long for Juve's new signing, Anna Capetta, to get on the sheet from a very weird corner from Carbonell. I thought it wasn't going to beat the first player, but
that was actually a very Wolfsburg corner. If we look back on their Bundes this season, it was a very Wolfsburg corner.
Usually Levels whipping it into Alex Pop.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's also the other thing for VFL. No Camilla Kuva, no Janu Levels. A very different look back line. Dijkstra, in the mix. And then, I mean, Guro Bergsvand actually came on in this game to try and hold out the 2-1, but they had Vedemeyer and Linder and Bielda as their back four, which is not a back four you see often for them. But Capetta, this new girl, looks dangerous. I mean, she's from Sporting. She was done in the Champions League qualifications, I believe, against Roma. This is her first start for Juventus, and she's dropped a player of the match performance with, I mean, starting off with the header and then eventually getting the ball from Brighton in the 61st minute, plays it up to Vangsgaard, who strikes the ball, goes off Dijkstra and over Johannes. So they were 2-0 up, and you kind of just thought that after being 2-0 up, Juve would go full calcio ball, hold down the line, bring on every defender that they have on the bench. Just, I don't know, like, who have they got on the bench here? Just go through everyone. Caligaris, and, I mean, they brought on Bakari. They brought on, they should have just brought on Larissa Rusek. Just bring on the second keeper to put the keeper in the goal, just so they have enough to be able to hold on this 2-0 lead away from home and then go home and finish it off. But VAR in the UWCL doing its business. I mean, Enderman tried really hard. Bussy came on, Latvain came on, and they eventually got their goal from the corner, whipped in, and then Caligaris, it hits her arm, VAR catches it out, they get the penalty, and Minga is probably the player you want taking your penalties. Put it down the middle, but sent the goalie the wrong way, and that is how you do it. That's as easy as it gets. But it wasn't over. It was not over, as we see Linder striking this absolute peach of a ball into the top right corner. I mean, Bussy leaves it. Linder goes, get out of my way, 20-year-old. I'm about to strike this one time into the top right corner. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Dion gets a hand to it, but just can't do anything about it.
I'm not going to say she did. I'm not going to say she did.
It's very,
I think that went
I think it's just a finger or something, but it's an absolute great strike. And I'm not taking anything away from it, but VFL definitely getting away with an unconvincing attacking performance. A lot of chances go begging for VFL in that game. But this is what you expect. 15 shots, 3 on target, and your front three is made up of Enderman, Beerenstein, and Huth, who are all players who can create chances, all players who can score chances on their day. But when they're off, the ball hits the post, the ball fluffs away from them. Beerenstein just a bit far away from a few balls across the box from Enderman and Huth. That's just what happens. It's just one of those days, and they've got away with murder, kind of, because I kind of thought it would be 2-0.
I really think that this is, and we've talked about this before, this is what I think will happen to Wolfsburg if they do not replace Alex Pop, if they do not revitalize that forward line. But also thinking about how you have Bernstein in the 9, you have 2 flank players, 2 of completely different caliber in terms of Enderman. I mean, she's not a young player anymore, but she is a player that is kind of just now getting those starting minutes that, were afforded to someone like Yuli Brand previously. And then Huth, who's been doing it for about 1,000 years. And so to me, this is just another example of you can't expect and you can't maintain the same levels if you're not replacing and trying to revitalize what is, I think, a very old but also has very young players in this team. So it's a bit of a mix, and we talked about this when we previewed Wolfsburg coming into the season. Is how are they going to manage having players on one end of the age spectrum and then players on the other end of the age spectrum without a lot of experience in the Champions League. So yeah.
I mean, it's even more than that, because they had a chance in January to shake things up, really. And you just look at this midfield, Pop and Pettimals. In my head, Pettimals is an aggressive 10 who can score goals. And Pop, in my opinion, her best position is in the 9. I know she's playing behind the ball, and I know a lot of German fans will say she can do the Alessia thing and play behind the ball and play with her back to goal and hold up play. I still want to see Alessia in the 9, and I still want to see Pop in the 9. Like, Pop is a killer and can kill off games, and I think Enderman is also just like a 10. They just bunch up the center of the park. None of them hold to the flank. Even Huth tries to cut inside sometimes, but she's much better at hugging the line and will complement whatever Enderman does, which is really, really good. But there's no Eula Brand replacement. They haven't had a Eula Brand replacement just yet. Bussy is so young, and I'm not by age, but just by experience on the pitch. She'll get there. But I'm talking about having an actual 10, which is Pettimore's, play in the 8 as a shoe-in for Pop to play a bit deeper. Just, in my opinion, I think Lurch needs to work that out, because I think Bierenstein, he needs to be in a 2 up front, to be honest. I don't know if she's the sole 9 option, and I know she can just do the business, and the purple
She did well in this game.
Yeah.
She did well with her separation. She was, very energetic when she was on the ball. I think it's just the fact that she's losing a lot of the ball. I think she's losing a lot of the ball, and when she loses it, there's no second effort coming behind to counter the press to continue the momentum forward, because it's basically just her running like a headless chicken in the forward line.
Which is what you want, because sometimes that chaos energy is really, really good. But I think it doesn't help when your shots are off target. It doesn't help when your chance creation is low and you can't play with your back to goal the same way Pop can. So whether it's a 2 up front, whether they try something else for this next game in Italy, I think it'll be really exciting. That's probably the game I'm most excited for the second leg. The Athletic United game, Athletic doing sadly what I thought would happen, which is absolutely shoe-in, capitulate. It didn't really matter that they won during the league. We'll get to that slight win, which is not even a dub at this point because they've been winless in 5. But it took 2 minutes for Mark Skinner's Manchester United to split through the defence with Mallard and then Lizzie T. And I think this is why she was rested for the league game, is so she could come out, be fresh, and strike that ball into the top right corner. Just too easy. It just happened. I'm a bit disappointed in Athletic for not making this game at least 1-0, holding the back line. But Mallard scores this finesse into the bottom right corner, and Larice got injured in that process, in that 50-50 challenge, and the game just keeps going. It's not like they're going to stop the game straight away. And she struck the ball purely and truly because that's what Mallard can do. Mallard, when she's on, she is very, very dangerous player. You can't just give her the space to do that. And then insult to injury is that Tallis Joyce was on her game as well, because Boa Reese's free kick. There are 3 games we're going to talk about in this podcast where there were free kicks that were absolutely top corner and goalies absolutely turned up to save them. And this is one of the better ones because Tallis Joyce saves it onto the crossbar and then the header goes wide from the Athletic player. But there was just too many chances. Jensen, Fiamma Benitez, no Luani this game, obviously, due to the suspension. But this is just, again, not to take away anything from the second half efforts, but just not good enough. And then the 80th minute, that goal from Real Madrid was just absolutely splendid. I had to be like, you know what? Nelson is the real deal. Plays the ball to Mallard. Mallard lays it off to Zig, who's probably my favourite United player. Even that sentence sounds disgusting, but I love watching Zigiotti play. I think she's by far the best player in the team. I don't even think it's a comparison. I know people will say Jess Park's been amazing, Mallard's good. If you can't see what Zigiotti does on the pitch, the ground she covers, the things she can do on both sides of the pitch, it was only a matter of time before she started scoring goals, and now she's bagging goals from outside the box. She doesn't score crap goals. It's only rippers. Yeah. It was low-driven, straight through Gallardo, had no chance, and it was a 3-0 win away from home. I can't imagine what they're going to do at Unity Stadium. They're just going to absolutely ruin them. And they'll get through and have to come up against Bayern Munich, which will be an exciting match to preview later on in some later podcasts. But we will get there, and that is all we really have for the Champions League. As we move to the WSL, just letting all you guys know, the reason we're both in virtual backgrounds is because I am in Los Angeles, and I am the reason I'm in Los Angeles is because when Arsenal play City, I have to fly 12,000 kilometers away from Leggy as a legal custom, so that we can't kill each other after the game. But to be honest, I think there's a bit of mutual beneficiary in this particular derby. I love that every time there's a post from one of the Instagram accounts, the WOSO Instagram accounts, that's expect goals when you're watching these two teams play, because the last 3 games have been 3-2, 2-1, 2-0 Stina, 2-all the Jess Park goal, and all that, all these amazing moments, and then we get a 1-0. Of course, it was just always going to happen. But, there's a lot to talk about in this game. We're going to try and get through it swiftly, but also with some detail that we like. But, I mean, I'll give you the floor. How do you feel after a 1-0 win at home?
This was probably equal to the elation that I had, against Chelsea, just in terms of seeing how we
Interesting.
played, seeing the fact that we had standout performances from players who I don't necessarily think have gotten the recognition that they deserve. I'm talking about Kim Little, I'm talking a little bit about Smithy, but I'm also just looking at our group and seeing how, 2, 3 months ago, I was questioning how we were actually going to be able to face up against a City team that looked just so dominant. And we were on a terrible patch of form. We weren't scoring goals. And now this game came about, and I was incredibly confident going into the game, but more so, I was incredibly confident looking at how our players were playing and looking at really the trend that has been that Arsenal will win games when there is no title race to be won. They will win games, they will show up. And what this proves to me, thank you. What this proves to me is that
Give
if
him the
I can
leggy
see
Dior.
any,
Give him the leggy Dior.
yeah, of course, of course.
Yeah.
I know, but if this proves to me anything, this proves that I am seeing similarities to last year. I am seeing that we can go on another run in the cups. I am seeing that a Champions League is still on. If we're playing like this in the league against City, I can easily see us beating Chelsea in the Champions League. And I can easily see us going and having another underdog run because we went into this game underdogs, really, if you think about it, and we were able to take you.
It's just so funny. I find it hilarious. It's like big club, small club mentality. It's like if you're being chased, you absolutely honk. But then if you're chasing everyone else, like I feel like Arsenal needs the underdog status, even though
Yeah,
like
I've said
you're
this.
going
I've
into,
said it.
but you're gonna go into this Chelsea game thinking you're the underdogs. If you go into the Chelsea game thinking you're expected to win it, you'll have a worse performance
Yeah.
than if you go into the game as underdogs thinking, oh, they're the better team, but we're going to show them the levels, even though you're the defending European champions. Like, I've never seen a team who are the defending European champions, who've just won the Champions Cup, have this gold patch that I can see in the back of your background right now, and you still act like, oh, but we're not the favourites. Like we're not expected to win this game, but it's like an upset because I mean, I personally didn't like. I told you I went into this game relatively unconfident after some very. I mean, yes, we did very well against Chelsea, but Chelsea literally got humbled by you. And we'll get to Chelsea in a minute, but. I also just think surely, like, I mean, I don't know about you. I'd say the first half. Let's go through the first half, right? Because the first half, that would probably be similar elation to the Chelsea game in that sense. Because
Yeah,
I thought the Chelsea game
yeah.
was the best, was an incredible 90 performance where you were just kind of all over them. They didn't really have a chance at goal, bar Alyssa Thompson on the break. They were absolutely humbled at the bridge, which was crazy, right? But this is at your home ground. You showed us the levels. You were pressing, the front four were pressing like crazy people. That was the only time we haven't been able to play out from the press that healthily since the first game. Actually, not the first game, because Chelsea didn't really do that, but it was the Brighton game. Do you remember the Brighton game early on when Vidicic was like really pressing us so hard and we couldn't play out from the back, and it kind of meant that we had to funnel the ball to Kasparai, but we couldn't get the ball to Kasparai this game because Caitlin Foord has taken the form of this World Champions Cup, this Champions Plate, this extra competition into the last 3 games where Caitlin Foord has arguably been the unsung hero of this Arsenal side. I mean, she's going to try to stay at the club, so I mean, you've got to
Yeah,
put
exactly.
some performances out. But
I think that we took the lessons from teams that I don't think you would expect us to take from. I don't think we played like Chelsea did in the first game. I think we actually played a lot like a better Everton side against York. We played a lot like that Brighton side as well. But we also started to play a
Kim
lot.
Little starring as Claire Wheeler.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I think we also took a lot of what London City did, which is in better effect, try and narrow you guys, try to limit you to very, very low chance creation to the point in which I'm questioning, the likes of Bunny Shaw, which I mean, I have always been a bit of a Bunny Shaw doubter, and
You are the
despite
biggest Bunny Shaw doubter. Like
despite
I'm
knowing,
actually the second biggest Bunny Shaw doubter because everyone seems to tell me that she's the best striker in the world, and I'm the only one. I'm the only City fan who says she's not. Like I defy another City fan to tell me why she's better than Ewa Payor, because I don't think she is.
Why she's better
nearly
than
every
Smithy
nearly
in the
every
nine.
aspect nearly every aspect of the sport. The only thing Ewa can't do is ride some of the rides at Disneyland in comparison to Bunny Shaw, who can ride everything. But El Payor can just dominate games in the way Bunny Shaw can, but just does it at the big stages, did it against Barcelona, does it for other teams. Like, it's not even a question. But I do agree with you. I feel like the first half Bunny was relatively sightless, but I'm not gonna single out Bunny Shaw. I'm gonna just make the whole front three. It's the front three were sightless. Carolyn kept doing the same thing. I don't understand, because the variety of play against Chelsea was very impressive. But also, as I've said before, Katie McCabe, in my opinion, best left back in the world. And when she's on, she gives the team levels. She shows her opposition, you can't take me. And it doesn't matter how fast you are. It doesn't matter how good you are. If you are going to go up against me 1v1, I'm going to give you body. I'm going to work harder than you. I'm going to work my brain works faster than you. I'm going to download the content I need to win this battle. And Emily Fox did it on one side, and Katie McCabe did it on the other. And we had no wing play. We were making sloppy passes from the back line. And then that's what happens, is that eventually Mariona cops one, plays it forward, and then Liv Smith in the 9, which, I mean, it was like a Yu-Gi-Oh moment for Renee Sledgers, where she just goes, hey, well, you've seen this, what about when I do this? And then just flip the switch, and then you just see Liv Smith taking it past Yama, putting the ball in the net, and you just think to yourself, wow, maybe Stina might have more competition in the 9 than you think, but
I don't necessarily think that it came out of nowhere. If you actually look at how Liv Smith plays, her
she
attributes
plays
as a
through the
footballer
center,
can play, but she can be put anywhere. I just think that it was so surprising, the reaction that City had to Smith being in the 9. I think that at the start of the game,
she's also faster than AT, low key.
Yeah.
All this AT, I'm a runner, I'm an athlete. Yeah, maybe AT can beat them both over 100 meters. I'm talking 30 meters, 25 meters without the ball. Liv Smith is one of the fastest footballers in the world, no question about it.
I was just surprised at the fact that, I mean, at some junctures of the game, you had Kanak on Smithy, and I think that was an absolutely terrible decision. That was just a mishap within you guys. But Jade Rose, which I think was your best player in the whole game,
fair enough. I was going to say the second half's a bit different, but first half she stopped 2-3 goals, 100%.
Yeah, and that's the matchup that I expected to go with Smithy, which was a taller, equally as fast player.
But the reason why Kanak was on her in that moment is because she channeled the other side. As soon as your press comes back, she changes her channel. She tried to spam Kanak. She played off Kanak's shoulder. It was perfect run making. I mean, Mariona playing passes that I want her to play more often. It just doesn't happen that much often, because you don't really get pressed. You guys don't get pressed like that. You guys kind of bring the ball forward. So we play a very high line, and you took advantage of that. And I would say that's one of the worst halves we've had. But the second half is a bit of a different story.
Much more even, yeah.
And the reason I will say it's a different story is down to who I would give Man City's player of the match to. And I think begins the process of actually who I want to see in the starting lineup in the future, and that is Sam coffee. Just inject the coffee in my veins, because Alessia Russo was dominating us in that first half, operating on different levels, striking the ball from deep. I didn't see Alessia much in that second half, and I think that's down to Sam Coffey basically nullifying the Arsenal central channels in ways that sadly LBB just can't do. Allowed Yui to go further forward. This is what I expected City to look like going into this game, from 0 to 45, but I'm happy to take it from 45 to 90, because we could have shut down. You guys could have battered us 3-0, make us look silly, make us be like, oh, it's going to be the worst title winners of all time, they're so trash, blah 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 blah. it was a much more respectable performance from 45 to 90. We had greater chance creation. We had moments. And then we had the moment of the game, which I really don't want to talk about that much because it's so boring and so null and void. And look, I could do it. If you wanted me to flip the switch and I could be like, I mean, what a crap call. I can't believe this. Refs are bull crap. Like, this is just a joke. I don't understand how they haven't seen it. It's ridiculous. Like, Hempo clearly gets chopped up. I don't know how everyone could see it. Every single player could see it. It's ridiculous. And Bunny plays this beautiful ball. And Mariona should have been sent off. And then we could have gone out. They're 10 men, pushed them back, and won the game. But that's not what I actually think. If that's not perfectly clear, like, come on, guys. Bunny misses chances from 5 yards out. No. Refs miss things. It happened last game against Arsenal when Firmino got fouled from 20 yards out. The ref said it was a penalty. Just refs get things wrong. It's okay. It doesn't take away the fact that we were pretty poor in the first half. And if we're relying on tackles on edge of the boxes for Mariona to get dog-zoed, then we've probably lost the game. But at least it was an admirable second half performance where we didn't shut out. We showed why we are 8 points, 10 points ahead is because we don't shut out of games anymore. We don't give up. It's not like last year where we're getting killed by Barcelona in second games in the Champions League. It's not like we're getting killed by Chelsea 2-0 and shutting down and not having any attack and creation options. It was a very, good effort. I think all the players in our team can hold their heads up high. Go into this week against Leicester, a team that are literally dying, as an institution. And I expect Bunny and Carolyn hat tricks against this game. I've triple captained Bunny Shaw in my WSL fantasy. I'm shilling Bunny this week, but. It was just a much better performance second half. I could only make that a testament to me. I don't know about you as an Arsenal fan. Were you nervous? 85, 90?
Yeah, I was nervous.
Exactly.
And I think that is a testament to you guys. I think the most I've been nervous in a 1-0 was the Barcelona game. And so if that's anything to go by. Right, you're on the same level.
I take that as a huge compliment. I mean, Sam Coffey has often been compared to Guiaro all day.
Yeah. But I think the thing that really separated this particular game were the duels. And I think if you go on the PK, I think it's very easily contestable. I think that there are both sides of right in some aspects. But I've talked to you before.
Good people on both sides. Am I right?
Good people on both sides. Yeah, I think. God, you really have been yanked up, haven't you? One week in the States, and you're pulling Trump quotes out.
I just really love Lauren Hemp MBE, and I really like Mariona Caldente. Yeah. So they are good people on both sides.
I think that if there was VAR, and I know you hate VAR,
yeah, I do.
But if there was VAR, not only would this decision be far more easily. Or far less debatable because we would have actually seen the evidence for either side, but it would mean that less players would be trying to deceive referees.
That's so true.
There were obvious moments in this game where players
Liv Smith, the jumping dive. She should get fined. I hope Renee fines her. Renee should just fine her $20, £20 for that dive. That was the funniest dive I've ever seen.
And that was early in the game.
Oh, that was so early. That was the memes that came out of that dive were incredible. That is one of the best dive. That will be dive of the year at the end of the season. But what I will say is the only thing I will add to that controversy thing is that I actually don't care about the contact. It's the way Mariona turns over. She makes the tackle. She knows she's made contact, and then she turns over to be injured, and it's she's just going oh shit, well I've screwed up, right? And that happens, right? It's fine, it's okay. But I think, if we're gonna, I know I've said player of the match for us is Sam Coffey. It's not even a comparison to the efforts that Kim Little had. Yeah. Viv Miedemar ghost town in this game, frustrated, angry, had moments to get back in the game in that second half, definitely. But I feel like she should have come off a bit earlier. I think there were definite battles that were pretty much won all over the park by Arsenal in that way. And I think when we're talking about Hempo, we're talking about Yui, we're talking about the big names on this list. Even AG, I feel like there could have been more from them, but it doesn't go back to the fact that, I mean, Arsenal, if they win their game in hand, that is against Leicester. So when they win their game in hand against Leicester, they will be 7 points behind, which it makes it a little bit more interesting, but not really. But what's more exciting is that if we keep our streak and we keep our head high, there is a very good possibility that we win the league at Old Trafford for the Manchester Derby, which would make some good chance, which would make some good historical moments. I'm expecting a 2-0 at Old Trafford, Hempo goal, Bunny goal. Like, I want Hempo to get the winning goal. I think she deserves the league more than anyone with what she's been through and what she's been a part of for so long at City. I think it'll be really, really exciting. But I don't think there's, I don't know. There was interesting talk about the substitutions in this game because AJ's rotations are always interesting. Looking at like Carolyn and Viv coming off. So a lot of people were a bit confused with Carolyn coming off. I actually like it. I think she was very poor, and you bring off the poorest players because you need to change the way we play. And that's what happened. And it shows that no one is above the system, right? We brought on Iman Bene, who was a proven winner against City last time, but obviously a different context, different game, especially at home. But it changed the way we played because we shifted the ball to the left side, allowed Benny to play a more freer role on the side, and let Hempo drive at Emily Fox, which I felt like was a more evenly matched game than trying to barge through McCabe, who looked like she was on fire pretty much all of the first 60 to 70 minutes of this game. But I know you criticised Bunny before, but I kind of don't mind Bunny going up and down and trying to get back into the game. If you only have 9 touches in the first 40 minutes of the game, then you've got to get touches on the ball. It doesn't really matter how. And I think if she goes too far down, then there's complaints about her not staying forward. And then if she goes too far forward and doesn't get enough touches, it's like, why aren't we trying to get Bunny in the game? So, it's hard. It's a hard matchup to know what.
I don't think that these debates exist. I really don't. I know you've talked about them. I just don't think they exist. She is an out-and-out striker. I am not expecting Bunny Shaw to be making balls from deep. I'm not expecting her to make defensive efforts from deep. But she was responsible. But she did. She did. Yeah. And that's great, and that's fantastic. Yeah. And you talked about Yeglerts as avenues of goal, and we debated how I think that that's more style of play versus system of play. But I personally believe when you have players and you know their positions and you know where they're best, you keep them there. There is absolutely no external debate that is going to trump the fact that Bunny Shaw is a 30-touch 3-goal a game player. It is what it is.
Sure, but when you're getting nullified by a back line who's killing, happens. And
then what happens? You need to rely on your other players. You need to rely on Viv, and Viv didn't show up.
No, that's true. That's very true. But you need to rotate them. You need to give them different looks.
I don't think
Viv
so.
can't come through. In my opinion, Viv can't come through the same way that she's supposed to come through in that aggressive 10 role if Bunny is holding and shifting the play to one side. And I think it is a different look. And I understand that our best football is when Bunny Shaw is in the 9. There's no question. It's just when it's not there, it's not there. And I think it's not like Bunny was deep from 35 minutes in. We tried it for 60 minutes. We tried an hour of Bunny Shaw in the 9, and she got about 12, 15 touches. It wasn't. It was like watching Sam Kerr for 60 minutes at the moment, and where she's just not getting the touches on the ball that she wants and not getting the creation and the chance separation at all that she needs to be able to deliver the things she can do. And then the one moment we have, the best moment of our play, was Bunny getting deep and playing that ball. And that's not option number 1. It's not option number 2. That's probably like option number 7. I'm with you. Like it's plan M. Plan M. We were so far away from Plan A that we had Bunny playing the Viv role and Hempo playing the Bunny role. But
do you not think that, for example, in the Viv opportunity, the fact that she went 1v1 and then
1v1. Yeah.
There was, I mean, if you just look at that clip, you see there are so many things working at once. And one of the things that happened in that was Viv separated from Steph Catley pretty much the first time she won a duel.
Finally,
right?
yeah.
And was able to come across. Do you not think that? I mean,
Bunny should be there. Bunny should be there. Yes, yes, of course. But that, in my opinion, is not. I know it's going to sound like I'm copping out, but that's not a con on City. That's a pro of Arsenal. You've made us play a varied game, an improvised game, but ultimately, I think we can learn a lot more from our change in variety and our improvisation. It shows that Jeglerts is talking to these players, saying, our plan A is not working. Something's got to change. And then we actually, I'd say, like, I don't know if we won the half. I'd say it was relatively even. I think you guys still had chances. I'm not taking away from that. But I don't know. I feel like our subs made more of a difference than your subs. I feel like there was...
I think our subs closed off a game. Your subs were trying to win a game.
True. Exactly right. Like, I mean, bringing on Lotta and every single defender that you've ever had. Like, I thought Jen Beattie was going to come on at one point to close out this game. Like, it was crazy. Put Williams in the goal, put a second goalkeeper, and bring off Smith. I mean, Smith did come off, but it was enough. It was very, very impressive. But I mean, we like it was just a very good game. Like, it was a high quality football.
It was
match.
A good game for the neutral. I think.
Exactly. Even though it was goalless, I feel like they would have liked another 2-2 or a 3-2, like old times, a bit more chaos ball from our teams. But we'll move straight into Spurs v Chelsea. The game that Madonna decided to show up at. Madonna in the crowd for the Spurs-Chelsea game, wanting to see Chelsea snap their 2-game losing streak, or maybe wanting to see Chelsea lose a 3rd game in a row.
Well, she's a Spurs fan. She
is come on you. Yeah, she is come on you Spurs. But I mean,
she did.
Yeah, she did. She probably is. She probably is. I think she's more Martin pilled. Tottenham. Yeah, look, Tottenham. This was your best chance to beat Chelsea, and you got them back into form. But I mean, not that much form, but enough form. But I mean, it was
a game that reminded me of like this. I thought this Chelsea team were on top of the ladder. You know,
low key. I think you've switched. I think Chelsea are now playing like Arsenal at the start of the year, and Arsenal are playing like Chelsea at the start of the year. I'm not saying the style of football. No. I'm just saying like the game. Like there's a level of game management to the way Chelsea were playing this game.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That was very reminiscent of Arsenal in that way. But like, I mean, Tottenham had a lot of chances in this game. We're not going to take away from the fact that Olivia Holt striking the ball from 30 yards, hitting the crossbar. You had Blackstad, England, so many chances. I think Kattenberg as well coming back had another chance as well. But JRK, by the way, has her O button disappeared? Like, girl's got to shoot the ball. Like, she's so good at getting in all these amazing positions, but then she tries to like walk the ball in the net or try and skill another player. It's just like, just score. But then, I mean, eventually Kira Walsh does just score, and it's that corner that falls to the edge of the box. And as soon as it's Kira Walsh at the edge of the box, you kind of know the rest of it. And she side foots that. It's so powerful for a side foot. It's kind of crazy, but they needed a 9. They really need a 9. If you're relying on Kira Walsh and I mean,
Lauren James.
Lauren James is not the reliable one. I don't think they're relying on her because ultimately they had opportunities. They could have signed Kanjinga. They could have signed like just anyone to play the striker role because we're going to go into March. Chelsea not going to have Kerr. I don't know where Myra Ramirez. There's no update on her availability to play football.
And Kat Macario is
and
just a whole evolving story.
Macario is going to La Masia at this point, but I don't know what the plan is. But unless it's AT in the 9, I don't know what they want to do. I feel like
I think is possible. I think Alyssa Thompson in the 9 is a possibility, but I think that we're forgetting about Aggie Beaver-Jones as well. I just think I think that Chelsea have far bigger problems than scoring goals. I think it's a lot to do with the midfield. I think it's a lot to do with the defense, and then I also think it's a lot to do with what is happening outside of the pitch, off the pitch.
That's very, very, very true.
I just think that you can't substitute like non-chemistry substitute. You can't substitute not actually being on the same page, which I mean we've heard a lot of stuff coming out of the fact that the technical director has been fired or let go,
resigned,
and all those things. All those things have an impact on what is going on, and especially with the players who have been there a while. I'm thinking Lily Brighton, I'm thinking Sam Kerr coming out and saying, this
what
is
a legend. Like this guy, this is the guy.
Yeah,
this is the guy. And I mean, it's an interesting precedent to set, but it shouldn't 100% dictate the style of play because they do believe in the Sonia model. I do think they do. And
I
look,
agree.
Nuskin was playing, the midfield was a lot better in this game. And Nuskin getting into more advanced positions, she's the reason AT doubled the lead in the 49th minute. They did have comfortable play. Hannah Hampton made a few very good efforts to save Olivia Holt and co. But it just... Yeah, it's an interesting performance because it's very uncharacteristic of Chelsea, and they just need a little revitalizer. I feel like that, like they need a game like they did against Liverpool in the cup, like a 9-1. They need a little bit of a refresher to be like Chelsea are back.
Well, they're playing Liverpool next week.
Yeah,
So-
but this is but I mean, if we want to move on to their game, let's be honest. Let's transition straight into them. Liverpool are the form side in the league right now. I swear to God, they are unstoppable right now. They just battered Villa on the end. I mean, I'm in America. I just saw the Super Bowl. Their NFL pitch, that is St. Helens Stadium, absolutely crunching Villa in half. I, for one, would not want to be a Villa fan right now. The Arroyo ball is no longer working at the moment, and it's because they're just so vulnerable at the back. They just don't clear the ball enough. They're not creating the space. They don't like travelling. 8 goals in their last 3 games away from home. It's not good enough. But, I mean, this Liverpool side... I mean, Gareth Taylor, Big Gazball, has just won Manager of the Month for January. And rightfully so, because the changeover, the 2026 resolution for Gazball must have been, like, don't have your legacy ruined by a bunch of players that are all injured. And, like, I mean, he's brought in Martha Thomas. Martha Thomas is playing like Stina Blackstenius. It's unbelievable football. It's absolutely magnificent to watch. They just are chance creation machines, whether it's Enderby, Bergstrom, MT, O'Sullivan in the midfield. I mean, there's just so much going on. Even Grace Fisk is scoring goals. Volleys from Gemma Clark assists. Like, is this like this Merseyside thing where Everton and Liverpool just have centre backs set each other up for these ridiculous goals? Like last week we had Mace and Martina Fernandez. This week we've got Fisk and Clark setting each other up. But Villa they're not clearing the ball. They're not getting the ball out. Like sometimes going for a 50-50 isn't the answer. Just ping the ball away, reset the formation, because your game is built around aggressive press, counter-attacking press, where Hansen gets isolated or Salmon gets isolated or someone gets enough space and separation to get open to score the goals. And I mean, Hansen and Mullet were good, and then eventually ended up getting through. They got their one consolation. It was kind of a consolation in that way. But ultimately, I think Sabrina D'Angelo Roebuck needs to be a question. I don't know who the number one is. I was very confident it was Sabrina D'Angelo. After this game, I'm not 100% sure, because maybe Roebuck can bring a level of confidence to that back line that they need, because right now they're just getting rocked by shot after shot after shot. And I don't know what they're supposed to do when Silag is sealing goals in the 97th minute. Shimizu's making amazing blocks on Hansen to stop it from going 3-2. It's a massive result, just a statement result from Liverpool, who do not want to be relegated this season at all.
So in the last 5 games, I believe D'Angelo has been a player in 2 of those games, and she has conceded 3 goals to Roebuck, who has conceded, I believe, 10 goals. So
Jesus.
I don't really understand what's happening in terms of that particular
They don't know.
decision
There's
making.
no confidence in either of them right now.
And I think that is reflecting on their poor defensive performances. But I also think we need to pay their dues to looking at Liverpool and how tactically efficient they are and how tactically mature they are. I mean, they're sticking with the 4-1-4-1. It means that there's available when they're defending to sit back into that 5-back system. And I can't help but think that this is a team that is so much more revitalized than we saw in the first half of the season, so much more willing to attack, so much more willing to score goals. And I mean, this is their biggest win, the 4-0 win over Leicester back in May 2024. So this is not only just like a team, this is not only a team that is revitalized, but a team that is starting to look like what we expected coming out of the 23-24 season, which is an institution ready to grow into the WSL once again.
Yeah. And shout out to Falk. I think Falk will be the January signing of the year in the WSL.
Her and Holmberg.
Yeah, Holmberg's been amazing. Like as a substitute fullback, definitely like to add variety to
coming
Arsenal's
out of the Swedish
line.
league.
But like if we're talking about the amount of goals that Liverpool was shipping, we were talking about Gazball being like over, like Gazball needs to be sacked, all these things, and then now they've brought in Falk. They do not ship goals as easy. Like they gave United a run for their money in their game. I mean, the score is a bit flattering to United, but they gave it a red hot go because I mean there is some beef with United for Gazball. But now they're just packing in WSL side. Anyone that's basically that's not top 4, they can get it from the Reds. They will go after you because they have a punishing front 4 that know how to put the ball in the back of the net. They know how to set each other up, and they work well with each other. And, I mean, if we're going to put another person, a nominee for a January signing of the season, it'd be O'Sullivan as well in that midfield, who's settled the ship in that midfield very well with Holland in there. Like, they just have a bunch of players that I think could end up, give it a season or two, they end up at different clubs in pushing for titles in other countries if they get scooped up.
I think that's the thing. I think that's the thing for Liverpool, though. They need to be able to retain players. I mean, they lost 2 of their best players in the previous season to
Arsenal. Yeah, that's what happens. And I think that the question is, are they ambitious about ending the WOSO gradient, making Liverpool a mainstay in the WSL, putting them into the top 5, like challenging Tottenham, challenging United for Champions League spots? Or do their players get shipped off and they use it as money to rebuild and re-sign and academy and do other things? But Leicester versus Manchester United, another comfortable win for Manchester United away from home against a very much lesser side that only had, it looked like Alicia Lehmann was the only one out there and Mouchon trying to get a goal in the end. But I mean, look, this game was over within 15 minutes. That strike from Zigiotti, the long-ranged effort. I mean, it wasn't really a strike. It was like a cross to Leah Schuller, and then Leah Schuller just either misses the header or was a genius and does the whole, like, I'm going to leave this so the ball goes in. It's an interesting goal, but, I mean, I think Leah's doing what perfect forward craft is supposed to do, which is try and get her ball on the head no matter what. Even if she can't get it, it puts off the goalkeeper, it creates space, and eventually ends up in the back of the net for 1-0.
It's kind of what I expect Schuller to be. I expect her to be a little bit of a decoy striker, just because right now she's not getting on the ball enough to be able to do the things that we love to see, which is running onto the ball, turning on defenders with a goal behind, facing away from the goal. I think what I saw mostly in this game was a midfield performance that is the reason why Manchester United are where they are, which is solid, which is attacking, which is willing to make those chances count. And I think that Ziggs, even if it wasn't intended to be a goal, is kind of like the luck that Manchester United have had this season. I think a lot of it is actual genuine like improvement, but a lot of it is also just in past seasons, these chances wouldn't go in. These games would run away from Manchester United. They wouldn't be able to score enough goals, and they wouldn't be able to be mature enough on the ball tactically to, see out games. And I think this, to me, and what I've seen United play in this season, I've never seen them go 1-0 up, 2-0 up, and expect them to drop, points. I just haven't seen it.
100%. They are very, very hard to score against. I do feel bad for Shannon O'Brien, who usually gets a goal in these games, but Sandberg absolutely chops her in half. I don't know how the ref didn't see it. That was a lot worse than the Mariona one because the ref was right there. Disgraceful body, hip, and shoulder with intent. Inside the box, by the way, not outside the box like the other one. But that was the only one that was the bit of the write-off. And then Liz Turlin comes on and scores a goal from Ziggiotti's press on Leicester, absolutely crunches. I forgot who it was, but crunches the player, plays it to Turlin, and then Turlin nearly fluffs it, but then puts it in the back of the net. But also kind of is more revealing of like Schuler as what she needs to do in terms of her game.
That's what I mean, yeah.
I mean, like, Ziggs pressed the ball. Turlin has put the ball bottom right, but just put it on target, right? There was a moment earlier in the game where Schuler just takes this shot and it just absolutely skies over the bar. And it's like she's going for the spectacular. Just put the ball low and hard. Low percentage goal, but high percentage on target. Force the parry. Like, show the strikers, show the attackers that you've got something to fear on that low driven so that you can do a hezzy or a fake and then get onto your strong foot. Like, it was a very, very toothless performance from the back half of the game. But, I mean, I don't know what this means. I mean, literally, watching Anna Sandberg play in, like, the Esme Brutes position for the majority of this game, like, the way she was inverting forward, she was basically playing as a left winger. It was crazy. Like, Mark Skinner does not give respect to any team that is below them. And then when they do play and they do get on the back foot, like the Shannon O'Brien chance, that's Sandberg not with being too high up, and she gets caught out and she doesn't track back, and then that's how they get their moment. But he's got to be careful, but that's what happens, really. LCL and Everton. I mean, this is a huge moment, really. 1-0 victory under the interim coach, Scott Phelan, after Brian Sorensen's hat sacking, which is very sad for the leggies of the world, the hat people. But, I mean, Everton needed this win and definitely, I mean, made Michelle Kang very tired, very angry, very disappointed. Kang number 3, the third child, not delivering the happiness it deserves. I mean, they had many moments in this game. I mean, if Izzy Goodwin could score, she might be a top 5 striker in the league. Like, honestly, the amount of chances she gets, and like, I think the woodwork just absolutely loves her. Like, she just smacks the bar every game. Like, there should be a bingo card for Izzy Goodwin to hit the woodwork every game. But Aslani was good. Shana was taking pot shots from deep that were on target, but just not enough. Not Newbon. What's her name? Is it? Yeah, no, it is. Isn't no? Who's the goalie? I forgot her name from Everton. Is it Brosnan? Courtney Brosnan was just player of the match. Like, she's a fantastic goalkeeper, and you can't just take pot shots and force good saves from Brosnan, because she'll just save. There are games this year she's already been player of the match, and this was just another one. So it's not like that she doesn't have a track record of winning games for Everton, but also Everton play miserly defensive football. When you have Mace and Martina Fernandez blocking, defensive contributions galore, they can just hold out games 1-0, and that's and then there was another chance for Goodwin, who heads it on target, and Brosnan saves it perfectly. It's like, that's just what happens. Like, LCL just not getting the ball in the back of the net, and Everton doing what they do best, which is holding out sly leads, you know.
Isabel Goodwin had 16 goals and 3 assists last season in 18 games in the WSL 2. She now has 3 goals this season after playing 15 matches. I don't necessarily think that she's a bad player. I just think that she needs time, and I think that at LCL you will be afforded time until you won't be. And I think that that's just basically because Michelle Kang and the institution will not allow players like Izzy Goodwin, in my opinion, to be able to grow. They will easily replace her with an experienced striker, I think. And I think what Freya Godfrey is offering or showing is that position that she's playing, she knows is up for grabs. So she's making those efforts. She is actively proving why she is a mainstay in this London City team. Isabel Goodwin, I think that she will have a bit of leeway because of the fact that she had such an incredible season for them in their promotion season. But I just don't think that you can go playing X amount of games, X amount of seasons, and being a quote-unquote mediocre striker, which I don't think she is. I just think she's 23 years old and she hasn't accustomed herself, and this team really hasn't accustomed themselves to the WSL.
Yeah, 100%. And it also depends on what the ambition is of the club. If they want to be a top 6, if they're sacking managers when they're 6th place, like, ultimately, if she's only got 1 in 5, that's as a ratio, it's not enough. But I would even extend that to the back line. If Sangare is going to make mistakes like that, and
the back line has to go.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm being so serious.
But like, the difference is like, Alana Kennedy is 33, so she will go. Sangare is a young like player who you need to develop. She will be a good player. I have no doubt that Sangare will be a good player. But if she's giving away the ball, costing your team games, costing your team the ability to progress further forward, and then Mamiki like plays the ball in after the tackle to Gabaro, like if Everton are bringing players in like Gabaro who are on loan at Sevilla, and now she's got her goal and 3 points for the club, then ultimately Kang will just go, okay, well Sangare needs to be replaced because she's a bit mistake prone, and Izzy Goodwin's 1 in 5, so let's get a striker who's 2 in 5 or 3 in 5 in another league who will be relatively cheap, because we don't need to get main name strikers, we just need accomplished like track-proven strikers to put you further up the table, and that's what happens. And they had a lot of chances. They had 17 shots before on target, 15 corners for LCL, and absolutely nothing. And Alana Kennedy headed one wide. That was probably their best chance, but just too easy for pragmatic Phelan and pragmatic Everton to do the business there. West Ham Brighton, which was arguably, we've left the best for last in this week, because I mean this was just a second half remontada, basically. About a 20-minute remontada in a way.
Not even 20 minutes.
Even 10,
it's like
12-minute remontada.
12 minutes. No,
Crazy.
7 minutes.
7 minutes in heaven for Rita Guarino. Let's put it that way. Like, it was a romantic back half performance, but it doesn't take anything away from Brighton, who, I mean, Kiko Seika, who's just continuing to have a fantastic season. I wonder how Brighton is going to look without her for the Asian Cup. This will be a crazy loss because of what she means to the front for Brighton. But Semic getting completely caught out, and then Manuela Venegas with a centre half with that strike to the top corner is absolutely incredible. I mean, they were 2-0 up. They were being relatively outplayed. West Ham had a lot of chances in this game, but I mean, Haley's shot went wide. Rule, massive slip and mistake out the back, and then Asai plays it to Martinez but didn't take it well. And then Ndozia is the second goalie we'll talk about, who's saved an absolute perler of a free kick from Asai, which makes me think she's arguably the best shot stopper in the league. I genuinely think
that's funny because that's funny because I thought that she had a really poor last 7 minutes.
Oh no, I agree, but I don't think that's got to do with shot stopping personally. Like her blunder to sweep forward for the second goal, which we'll get there. But like if we're talking like every goalie on their day in the WSL, who's the best shot stopper? I think she's definitely up there based on what we know she can do. I think she's done for club and country as well.
I think she's fantastic. I just think when the kind of momentum is kind of dying down, and you see that the other team has the opportunity to get back into the game, I kind of expect my goalkeeper to be the first to push that back line to be solid. And I guess it's also the coach and the captain as well. But I think that shot stopping is absolutely fantastic. But I think that one of the reasons why this Brighton team have struggled so far is I think that they really just lack a lot of leadership.
100%, and it showed. So from the 82nd minute, they should be locking up games. There was a lot of luck going on in this game, I will be honest. But the whip from Fionn Morgan, she didn't even celebrate the goal because it was the luckiest, like remnants of Masuaku's cross for West Ham, remnants of, I was going to say Aitana, but that's just rude. But justice for Ndozia, like there's no, what are you going to do? Like she's looked over, she thought she's crossed the ball and the ball's ended up in the back of the net.
She can't do anything for that.
But she can definitely do better for the second goal, where she's absolutely just pinged the ball, a deep ball. She's come out to try and recover it. She's pinged it into Martinez, who just plays it. It just let Shakira take it. Trust your defenders to do it. Very silly. And then the Asai goal to seal the turnaround. I mean, that ball from Zelem to Martinez to get the ball like safe and able to be crossed over is probably the moment of that goal. It was just such a fantastic
surprising
moment.
To me. That was the most surprising moment of this game, and there was a 3-goal comeback. Like that to me, Katie Zellem rocking up, starting this game over someone like Gori, and I was like really surprised about that. But I mean, that happens.
Game's the game. Game's the game. You bring in a new signing, you've got to use the new signing, and it clearly worked out for Guarino. She's clearly wanted got the clientele she wanted, but that ball to Martinez will probably go out into the abyss and forgotten. But It's a fantastic ball, and they definitely deserve a win. And maybe, I don't know what it means for West Ham. I don't know what the season entails. They are 2 points away from relegation, but Leicester aren't really holding form. But they're 2 wins out of 3 at the moment, going up against Everton at Goodison Park next week. So it's an interesting place to go. Who really knows what's going to happen? But I think it's an exciting precedent in the sense of that these are 2 teams that, there's 3 points in it. So if West Ham win this game, goal difference is very, very stark. But there'll be same points, and it will get them away from the pack of relegation that is Liverpool and Leicester if they win it.
I just think it's funny that Villa have kind of dragged themselves into a bit of a relegation fight as well. I mean, they're only they're on
3
16
games.
points.
They're about 3 games. They're about 3 games.
Yeah, but they
away
haven't lost. They haven't won in 3 games.
That's very true. They are the least formed team in the league.
Oh, them and Leicester.
Other than Leicester, yeah, definitely. But Villa's form is a bit more of a shock.